inflation. Some lawmakers outside of the panel, like Senator Elizabeth Warren, have called on Congress to
learn from what has just happened with these banks and go forward by tightening the regulations.
And here in Tennessee, Channel 4 reports that Kyle Chrisley, reality TV star Todd Chrisley's son, was arrested yesterday after allegedly pulling a knife on his work supervisor. The incident happened Monday. His bond was set at $3,000. Kyle's was taken to the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center and later released on bond. Kyle is the latest member of his family to have legal troubles. Kyle's parents, reality star TV Todd and Julie of Chrisley's Knows Best, were found guilty for evading taxes and conspiracy to defraud banks out of more than $30 million in fraudulent loans. And that's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. 7 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Supertalk. I'm Brian Wilson, and man, I'm telling you, it is good to be here today. I mean, I just went outside, and it's beautiful outside. You know, after the weather took all the little delicate blossoms and just wilted them on all the trees. That was a sad thing. I mean, the weather, it got cold and all the blossoms, I had beautiful blossoms. Was loving all the beautiful blossoms, but now they're gone.
They're
That's the
gone
way it
right
is.
in time for the beautiful weather to be here
I know
yet
the
again.
weather comes. They were beautiful for a short while.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, it's been a very eventful day here at Stately Wilson Manor because,
Ooh.
as you know, we've been having great difficulty with our TV signal. We're trying to get that resolved. So I've been here at the on the bridge of the Starship Urfarb, rebuilding the studio in a big way, and we've had our best people on it. I promise you, we have, and now I can say with great authority. I mean, I assume I could say this, Bell. That our TV thing is working.
Seems to be.
Seems to be. Supertalk TV is live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the ever-popular Twitch. So there you have it. We're ready to go. By the way, also, we've been having technical issues with Urfarb. Urfarb is up and running. Urfarb.com. You can see all the stories we use to prepare for this broadcast. And by the way, a great resource. Drop your email in so that we can stay in touch. I won't bug you too much, but every once in a while, I may need to reach out to you. And you can find, of course, the link to Urfarb at 997WTN.com. Let's move to the, I think, one of the big stories of the day. It's been the story for the last couple of days. And that is, what happened to our drone over the Black Sea. We have an MQ-9 drone. It's not our most sophisticated drone, but it's a workhorse. Flying over the Black Sea. So that's just south of Ukraine. And apparently it was flying over waters that are, according to the Pentagon, somewhere between 4,000 and 5,000 feet deep. So when they splashed that thing, there's little chance that it's going to be recovered. You'll hear more about that in a moment. But the Pentagon, was asked some very, direct questions today about this incident involving Russian military aircraft, jets, Su-27s, that were apparently intercepted the drone. And then I have to say, I laughed out loud with Cameron Smith in the previous show, as he described it as basically the Russians used their jet to pee on our drone. It's exactly what they were doing. It was an affront. They were expressing the depths of their displeasure that an American drone was in their area, and they apparently dumped fuel on it, and then came in contact with it. They were flying so close they came in contact with it, and very nearly, both aircraft were almost splashed. The Russians did not splash, but we took ours down, and it landed in about 4,000 feet of water, and will probably not be recovered. Now, that's the background on all this. What happened? Nobody's real sure, whether this was just, okay, we're going to have some fun. We're going to dump some fuel on an MQ-9 drone, and then they just got a little too close because they weren't as good a pilot as they thought they were. Nobody knows whether the bumping was intentional. Certainly, the spraying of our drone with jet fuel was intentional. And what does this mean? At the Pentagon, the Secretary of the Defense and also the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, were there to sort of answer questions. The one thing that Secretary Austin wanted you to know is that we can fly anywhere we want to go. The rest you'll hear is Mark Milley describing exactly what happened and what we know and some of what we don't know as yet. Here is the sound from earlier today at the Pentagon.
The United States will fly and operate wherever international law allows.
Was it intentional or not? Don't know yet. We know that the intercept was intentional. We know that the aggressive behavior was intentional. We also know it was very unprofessional and very unsafe. The actual contact of the fixed-wing Russian fighter with our UAV, the physical contact of those two, I can tell you with certainty that we have absolute evidence of the contact and the intercepts, et cetera, and it's very aggressive. You've heard about the dumping of the fuel and everything else. We have video evidence of all that. So there's no question that part of it's intentional. The actual physical contact of the aircraft, that I'm not so sure. But we will continue to exercise our rights in international airspace. It probably broke up. There's probably not a lot to recover, frankly. As far as the loss of anything of sensitive intelligence, etc., as normal, we would take, and we did, take mitigating measures. So we are quite confident that whatever was of value is no longer of value.
All right, so let me decode some of that Pentagon speak there. When they say they have video evidence, well, of course, the drone is basically, it's got a camera, a sophisticated camera, mounted under the belly, and it has the ability, I assume, to shoot, wide-angle pictures of whatever is in front of it. So they were able to actually capture on video. You understand the pilots are in Las Vegas, Nevada, while they're flying the drone over the Black Sea. So they apparently were able to record some of the video, and so they know indeed that there was intentional to dump the fuel. They're not so sure whether it was they intended to actually bump the aircraft and cause what is basically an international incident. So the video may be released, they're saying. I would like to see that video. I can't imagine in a wide angle shot. I mean, I understand that they don't want to show what the drone can look down on and how far it can zoom. One understands that the drone has an amazing ability to zoom in from long distances. That will work, but that would be a classified matter. Wide angle, shooting straight ahead, I don't think you're giving anything away. They're trying to figure out what can be shown and what cannot be shown. Then when you hear the chairman of the Joint Chiefs say, well, as far as any top secret matter, there are mitigation efforts that we can take to make sure nothing is lost, and we did that, which it says to me they have the ability to destroy on these aircraft the very, very sensitive equipment that might be found. So they would destroy that and make sure that it was not something that our adversaries could capture and take advantage of, reverse engineer, etc. So he says that didn't happen. They didn't get anything. And then the other part of it is that it's about, he said, 4,000, 5,000 feet deep. That's very deep. I didn't know the Black Sea was quite that deep, but apparently it is. And so they say any kind of recovery effort that the Russians might try to undertake would be very difficult. So we'll look at that and see how it goes. The bottom line is it appears that incident is over, but the question is, how does it impact our relationships with the Russians and given going forward? They're not happy with us because we're actively involved in Ukraine. So we continue to watch that situation as well. Military, didn't take very kindly to what was done here. It is one thing to have interceptions. That's just the game. We intercept their aircraft. They intercept our aircraft. They're often flying, close to Alaska, and then we go up and we intercept them. And then there's a friendly wave from one aircraft to the other, and then they generally part ways without incident. Sometimes of late, the Russians have become very aggressive. The Russian pilots have become very aggressive. We're not the only ones that's having problems with the Russians. Other of our allies who are actively involved in supporting the Ukrainians have reported the similar things, that they have come in contact with Russian aircraft, and the confrontations and the meetups have been at times quite confrontational. Why is this all so concerning? I think you have to say it's concerning because you have a situation where intentions can spiral out of control. Intentions can be misread. You have very tense feelings. The Russians are not at all happy with what we're doing in Ukraine and what our allies are doing in Ukraine. They're angry about it. Their military is getting destroyed because of the effective use of U.S. military equipment and U.S. intelligence, some of it provided by MQ-9 drones. So they're not happy about that, and they are They're seeing, well, tens of thousands of Russian soldiers just being destroyed out there because the military effort, as it was explained today, of the Russians has not been particularly stellar. And they're angry, and they're upset, and they're frustrated. And in an environment like that, you can have a real problem. Things can be misread. Things can spiral out of control. And we're talking about two countries that have nuclear weapons. And one country led by a man who is missing a step, cognitively in decline. The other country being led by a man who is said to be paranoid and maybe ill. And in that environment, it's not great to go bouncing around onto each other's aircraft. So we need to be very careful. And of course, against that backdrop, the Chinese are also acting very aggressively. So our Pentagon has its hands filled very busily these days. And it's a dangerous world that we live in, with the Russians not happy with us and the Chinese becoming incredibly more aggressive. And saying things that are troubling, to say the least. I really worry about where we are, and are we ready to take on one or two adversaries should it become necessary. I don't think we're there yet, but I'm telling you, in this tense environment, things can spin up and spiral out of control very quickly. And I think we're not it would be one thing if we had a leader that could respond and had his wits about him. But since we don't have that, it just makes things a little nerve-wracking. All right, so there's that, the latest update today from the Pentagon. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we're going to be talking about what's happening in Tennessee. We'll talk about 2024. And by the way, something that was said at the Pentagon briefing today relates to the 2024 race. I'll get into that. There is some market news to report. 4 o'clock hour, we're going to be joined by Pete Hegseth again. He's the Fox and Friends host for weekends and also a resident of Middle Tennessee. He'll join us at 4:35. Right now, it's 20 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Supertalk 99.7. All right, how are you faring in this rough and tumble market? The experts at Beacon Capital Management understand, well, it's a little scary right now, but here's the thing. Beacon Capital Management has a plan to assess where you are and help you make any mid-course corrections that might be needed. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have peace of mind that you're on the right path? Beacon can provide with a simple reassurance that starts with a phone call. The experts at Beacon will take it from there. I mean, what do you have to lose except for all the worry that you're carrying? Get started today by calling this number, 615-488-9303. Again, 615-488-9303. At the end of the process, you'll be able to rest easy knowing you have a plan that meets your retirement goals. Replace the worry with confidence that you're on the right path. All the T's are crossed. All the I's are dotted. Again, the number is 615-488-9303. The experts at Beacon stand ready to take your stress away. Learn more at beaconcm.com.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. Have you ever thought about why we invest in the stock market? Well, you often hear because we want to protect ourselves from inflation. Well, what is inflation? It's prices going up. Who's raising prices? Companies. What do you own when you own stocks? You own the companies raising prices, so it helps protect us from that. The other thing is this. Think about the most successful people you know. They're typically business owners. And you get to be a business owner when you invest in the stock market. Now, if we think about the stock market, a lot of people worry about, well, what if the stock market drops and it never comes back? Well, this is another thing that I like to explain to people. If the stock market goes down and it never comes back, what does that mean? That means that earnings went down and they never came back up again. So earnings went down. If earnings go down, what else goes down? Taxes go down. If taxes go away, what else goes away? The government goes away. If the government goes away, the FDIC goes away. So think about it. Everything is built on the stock market. That's why I don't ever worry about the stock market going down. Everybody has the same goal in mind when stocks go down. Get it to come back up, because we got to get earnings to come back up. Now, you have two things at your control to get earnings to come back up. One is sales. We can change what we're selling or sell more of whatever we have if we can. And if we can't do that, we can reduce our expenses. And that's exactly what companies do. You'll notice that they lay off people when things get bad, and hence that is why the stock market has recovered from every downturn throughout all of history. Now, if you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call, or call 615-851-1950.
What did the Secretary of Defense say about the pair of Russian fighter jets hitting an American drone yesterday? And some more news concerning here in Tennessee. What did U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn say about the Silicon Valley bank collapse? All that and more, 3:30 right here, Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
It's Mac Morey in the newsroom, Bell K in the control room today for the vacationing Chris Webber. Before you go, Mac, our friend Chris apparently decided to take a vacation and go to New York in the middle of a nor'easter. I mean,
frigid as can be.
Have you seen the pictures? Apparently,
yes.
Well, you're talking about the guy that went to Puerto Rico in a hurricane.
That's right. I mean, I
true.
think these people like to go to disaster areas for their vacation. I don't know what's going on. You're absolutely right. He did go to Puerto Rico right after a hurricane.
That was kind of scary there for a second.
Now he's in like upstate New York during a nor'easter. I don't know. I don't understand the guy. But anyway, thank you, Bell, for filling in. We greatly appreciate it. Let's talk about some news from around the area. This has gone largely unreported, and I want to make sure that we correct that. From the Tennessee Star, it happened Monday. A Lebanon man admitted to committing voter registration fraud. Have you heard this? Citing information by District Attorney General Jason Lawson, Channel 4 has reported that Nicholas Greiner pleaded guilty to the Class D felony of voter fraud under a process known as criminal information and was sentenced to 2 years of supervised probation, subject to judicial diversion. Criminal information resembles an indictment, except no grand jury is called to hear the charge. Greiner moved to a different part of Wilson County in May of 22, but never updated his driver's license and reported the move. Rather, the voting in his new district, he voted in his old voting district. At the time he voted, he was asked if his old address was his current address, to which he provided a false statement by claiming his old address was the current one. When faced with evidence of the crime by an investigator, Greiner lawyered up before agreeing to waive the grand jury review process. Well, that seems like a sort of a technical thing there for sure, but that is that did happen. Let's see what else we got. Tennessee, the state legislature, the General Assembly. There is a law on the books that says that if third graders don't meet certain benchmarks, they have to take the third grade over again or do summer school or take some kind of remedial learning. And that has freaked out a lot of parents because basically 2/3 of all third graders would not pass that test and would have to do the third grade over or go to summer school. And parents are freaking out. And so, the state legislature is responding to that. Some lawmakers have been working to make changes to the law, according to Channel 4. 4 bills that could change the third grade retention law. These bills need to pass through the House and Senate to go into effect. And there are several different approaches. One way or the other, it could well have an impact on that particular law as we go forward. And I know that a lot of parents of third graders are paying really close attention to this. Because I'm telling you, I mean, imagine you're a parent and you're getting, reports from your teacher, and the teachers say, well, all A's and B's, but when it comes to passing this certain test, they are not up to the task. Well, what are you to believe as a parent? You think, well, my kid's doing well. What do you mean the kid has to do the third grade over? I can understand why there would be such a concern and a hue and a cry. So I don't know. I sort of want our third graders to meet that benchmark. I think it's important that they reach that benchmark because once you get into the fourth grade, they say the third grade is so very, very, very important. It's important because if you don't have the basics down by the third grade, you're going to always be playing catch up educationally. And I would like our kids coming out of the third grade to be able to hit that benchmark so that they can have a successful educational career. What else? There's a new cell phone lot at B&A. Did you hear this? Well, it's a temporary cell phone lot. If you're going out there to pick somebody up, this is going to be a challenge, I think. B&A announced a new cell phone lot has opened to meet passenger demands while they're doing some construction out there. It's located at 1415 Murfreesboro Pike. It has 240 spots. It is 2.5 times larger than the current lots at the airport. I got to tell you, the current lots, the cell phone lot is way small out there, the old one. The lot features secure fencing, guards, real-time flight information. It is 3 miles from the terminal, and the average drive, 5 to 7 minutes. Parking is free of charge. The existing cell lots have closed for the moment as construction around the airport continues. So be warned, if you go out there and you're expecting to go to the old cell phone lot, it's not there. You need to go to the temporary lot over on the Murfreesboro Pike, and you're going to have a 5 to 7 minute drive when the call comes from your honey saying that he or she has arrived at the gate, at the sidewalk. It is now 30 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Supertalk 99.7.
30 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. Right now, 55 degrees, sunny in Nashville. Turn into a beautiful day. We are done with those freeze warnings. Tonight, just a normal night. You can take those outdoor plants that you brought inside to keep them from wilting. Take them back outside. It's nice outside again. Weather, traffic coming up just a few minutes. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin speaking today, Wednesday, about yesterday's incident over the Black Sea in which a pair of Russian fighter jets intercepted an American surveillance drone. Secretary Austin calling the move dangerous, reckless, and unprofessional, and saying he's been in contact with Moscow over the matter.
I just got off the phone with my Russian counterpart, Minister Shoigu. As I've said repeatedly, it's important that great powers be models of transparency and communication. And the United States will continue to fly and to operate wherever international law allows.
Here in Tennessee, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will testify tomorrow before the Senate Finance Committee. Tennessee U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn told WTN's Nashville Morning News she's going to ask questions about the Silicon Valley Bank collapse and why the Biden administration worked so fast to ensure everyone, even those above the FDIC insured threshold of $250,000, will get all their money back.
Instead of being the guarantor of last resort, this administration is jumping to the front of the line and saying we're going to be the guarantor of first resort.
And meanwhile, the Biden administration is blaming Republicans for the rollback of regulatory reforms, which even some Democrats voted to do. And that's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Let me tell you, if I could, about the folks over at Legend Steakhouse. Boy, what a great place this is. If you want a good steak, why not go get one of Johnny Fleeman's tasty steaks at Legend Steakhouse? They're so flavorful. But you may want to think about going there for lunch. They have a meat and two. The meats, well, this is good stuff. Fried pork chops, Smoky Mountain meatloaf, fried catfish, slow-cooked pot roast with gravy. I mean, cornbread, muffins, yeast rolls. But when it comes to the sides, I'm really all about the sides. 14 vegetables and casseroles to choose from. And this is good home cooking. Broccoli casserole, turnip greens, bourbon glazed apples, fried green tomatoes, potato casserole, black-eyed peas. I mean, that's just to name a few. You see, this is home cooking, as I mentioned. In fact, Johnny Fleeman got these recipes from his mom. He borrowed them some 30 years ago and just, never decided to send them back. Legend Steakhouse, multiple locations in Middle Tennessee. Good food at a fair price. Go to legendsteakhouse.com for locations. They've been around for some 34 years. I think you're going to love your next visit to Legend Steakhouse.